We'll now look at LogicFlow. So clicking the menu option on the left and then selecting LogicFlow from the main menu. The screen will load. Any existing flows already created will be displayed with the ability to create a new LogicFlow using the Add LogicFlow button. There's also a Create Group button which will allow you to create group so you can drag and drop LogicFlows into these groups to make it easier to manage. And then if you have any existing, it will give you the name with the ability to click into it, the ownership scope, the date it was created, and if it was an online or offline. So two different types. Your offline would be a LogicFlow for any users that haven't currently authenticated. So you can create a LogicFlow so a specific splash page is presented to them depending on the time or the day, or both. Whereas the online LogicFlow would be once they've authenticated, you can set redirects. So whether that's to an online splash page, to a URL, but you can also add in there, maybe send some communications or send using some of the connectors such as webhooks. Now we've already got an online one created. Now before we look at the online one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an offline one. So I'm going to click the Add LogicFlow button. I'm going to give it a name. So I've got this Ocean Hotel Offline Flow. I'm going to change it to offline. And because I'm at customer level, I can select any. So I'm going to keep it at company level and click Create. So the screen will load. At the very top, we've got the name in brackets telling us it's an offline one. You've got Move to Stage in a drop down. Now currently, because we only have Start created, we've only got the one stage, which is Start. But if we add any of these elements, you'll be able to jump to those directly using this drop down. We can go back to the library and we can also save. And below that, you've then got your screen. So as you can see, if I click and move my mouse, I can move around on here. I can use the chevrons. If I've dragged away, I can click the home button and it'll bring me back to the home. I can zoom in and I can also zoom out. On the right hand side, if I just close this off, you've got a number of options. You've got your LogicFlow nodes, so you've got your decision nodes. So because this is offline, we are very limited, but you've got client, whether that's time or by day. The only available action is to specify the offline splash page, and then you've got your end terminator. So every flow must have an end terminator, finishing off the whole process. This particular option is grayed out, but it will become available once you select an option. So for example, client time of day, as soon as you drag that onto the page and click into it, you can see it becomes active. So it's the node parameters within that particular node. Let me just delete that one off and delete yes. You've then got finally you've got your test your flow. So this will just test the functionality of your flow to make sure everything is correctly set up. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do is either use the main heading, so your main decision node, which is client, and if I drag this one on, because it's the main option, you'll have a true outcome and a false outcome. So if I click this plus sign, I can specify whether it's going to be time or whether it's going to be day. So if I select day and I say is Monday, then the true outcome is yes, it is Monday, so the user will go down this route. If it's not Monday, then the user will go down this route. So if I were to apply this, you can see it's Monday. Now I can add additional. Now I can add onto here time as well. So let's say not only is it Monday, but it has to be before 10 AM. So again, a true and a false outcome. Now then I can drag my splash page on, click on the plus sign. So all available splash pages. So there's my custom, there's my offline, and there's the Spanish version for when I did a languaged version of my access journey. So I'm just going to choose the standard offline, click apply. So if it's Monday before 10 o'clock, the users will go to this splash page. And then I'm going to drag this one back on again. This time I'm going to choose the custom splash page. And I'm going to put the false outcome to this one. So if it's Monday before 10, then yes, they'll go to this particular splash page. If it's not, they'll go to this one. So then I need to put an end terminator on and then attach both of those. And I'm going to end terminator for this one as well. And then finally I'm just going to need to start the start. So I've attached the start to the client. True outcome goes to this splash page and then ends. If it's not Monday before 10, it will go to this splash page and then to the end. Now we could have used the same end if we wanted to, but I've just used two separate ones. So I'm going to test this. I'm going to say it's Tuesday. Test. Yep, I've gone down this route, so it's greyed out. The area is not being used, and that's correct. And then if I say actually it's Monday at 3 o'clock, it's taken us down the correct route. So I'm happy with that. It's all tested correctly, so I can save. And you'll notice in here as well, we have save and validate. So only validated logic flows will become available in an access journey to be able to assign. I'm going to save and validate. You can see I've got the tick, so it's now been validated. If I move to stage, you'll notice now I've got lots of options. I can jump to a specific area. But if I go back to my library, there's my offline that I've created, and that's now available, ready in my access journey to assign. Now if I jump into the online version and open up the nodes, you'll see there's a lot more nodes available. So you've got user, so you can go off gender, age, can we send them SMS, can we email them, last visited, language, email address, visits and birthday. You've got device, their operating system or browser, even the weather, so the temperature or conditions outside can affect what the user is sent to. Then your name, country, SSID, the provider type, the hardware type, the name or even the MAC address. And because we've got a live connection, we can send them a particular e-shot, send them to a specific splash page, to a URL redirect using a particular webhook. And then you've got your end terminate as we saw before. So in this example, we've got the user's gender, so if they're male and less than 21, they'll go to this redirect. Greater than 21, they'll go to this redirect. If they're female, again less than 21 here, over 21 here. So you can see some specific criteria here where we're targeting under 21s and over 21s, the males and the females. And in here, if you wanted to, before it got to the end, if you wanted to send them a communication as well, let's say an e-shot, you could add that in here. Let's drag that open and cancel the end terminate. And let's say this particular e-shot, you can delay 60 minutes, 2 hours, 4 hours, 12 hours. So I'm going to delay of 2 hours. Click apply. And then we can say anybody that's greater than 50 will receive this particular e-shot. Let's put that back onto the end. So a little bit messy, but essentially we've added in an additional, so anybody over 50 will also receive a particular e-shot. So again, you save and validate. And I can now go to my access journey. Click into this access journey I already got created. You see we've got LogicFlow, and in here now we've got a drop down because we've created an offline and an online. We can select our offline and we can also set our online. So this redirect now becomes obsolete because we've got a LogicFlow redirect. Now if this LogicFlow was only communication, then it would still use the redirect, but it looks in here first, checks the relevant flows, and then sends the user accordingly.